Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Hull and Back podcast. I'm joined, as usual, by Will and Nathaniel today. How are we doing, lads?
Fine.
Rather well.
Yeah. Just a decent result to talk about, I think. Obviously, before we start this episode, we are sponsored by 6 Yards Out, homely retrobilia, mugs, coasters, phone cases, posters, anything you want like a retro kit design on, or even CFAX results. So if you wanted the playoff final on there, for example, you could get that on a mug.
CFAX.
Good old CFAX. So head to 6 Yards Out to get something like that. Mother's Day is coming up. Maybe you've got a mother who's a City fan in the family. And then obviously Candy King, based in Hull, sweet business, big pick and mix. They're doing the 3 for 25 offer permanently at the minute. So you can get 3 kilograms of sweets for 25 quid, which is ridiculously tempting, though I won't be doing it at the minute because I've actually given up snacks for Lent at the minute and it's very difficult. Snacks and Monster Energies, I've cut them out because I need to be losing weight. So I'm really struggling at the minute.
I mean, Monster Energy's shit anyway. Why you drink it?
We won't be having that kind of slander on this podcast.
Yeah,
so head over to their website to check out what they do. Obviously, if you want to keep the kids quiet or you want to have enough for yourself as well, they do some amazing mixes and I think they're working on some new stuff to announce. So be sure to check them out. And if you haven't seen on FanHub, you can actually win now 3 pints for getting 11 out of 11 on your team guess, your predictor for the lineup. If you get 11 out of 11, you win a free pint at any of the We Love Football venues, I think it is, that they've partnered up with. So you can win free beer just for guessing your team. Pretty good.
Guess
so
who got 10 out of 11 this week?
Yeah, I got 10 out of 11. I put Force in instead of Longman.
I got 0.
I put Doherty instead of Slater.
I had a feeling Slater was going to come back in. So we'll move straight on to it then, because obviously we've got 5 unbeaten away, which is really good. We'll just ignore the home form. Starting off obviously this episode with the 0-0 draw at Birmingham, which was, there's not really much to cover in that game. Really, it was a game that kind of seemed like it was. You could tell it was kind of a damp squid for both teams. Like, 2 poor teams at the time that really didn't sort of take any sort of impetus in the game to try and win it. You could tell, we were 2 sides down at the bottom. I think Will's got a nice one-line description for this game, haven't you, Will?
Yeah, good defence, could have won. I'll take the point.
Respect the point, exactly.
Yeah, you're always going to take a point away.
It was a classic game of 2 teams whose season's technically already over.
Just about, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I think relatively we're both safe anyway.
Yeah.
Even
after the last night's result, definitely. I think at that point, especially with the form Barnsley were in, I think a draw on Saturday wasn't enough. But I think we're probably fine now. I don't know why we're all getting so fussed about it. It's fine.
I agree.
I mean, because realistically, that the bottom 4 look like they're going to be slugging it out for the relegate. I think Peterborough look dead and buried, and then it's going to be between Derby, Barnsley, and Reading for the last 2.
Barnsley.
I think it'll be Barnsley.
They're the only team that seems to be able to win a game at the moment. So
yeah, that's true.
Reading have decided to just self-destruct by appointing Paul in. So
exactly, just a terrible appointment.
You'd have assumed they'd have gone for an experienced head, maybe a Warnock or somebody to try and at least keep them in the division, even if it was only a contract till the end of the season or something to sort of secure safety and then change it next season if they had to. But yeah, it does seem a strange appointment, and it does look like they're kind of destined for League One at the minute, and they're in a bit of money troubles, aren't they? So I think if Reading and Derby go down, they're both going to really struggle, aren't they? So
that's the thing. If the points deductions had not happened for Reading and Derby, it would be a completely different game.
Yeah, it would have been, because there'd been a lot on that game because it'd be between us and Birmingham for the last relegation spot, wouldn't it?
Of course, it could have been different.
It would have been a lot closer, definitely.
To be fair, we're only a few points behind where Derby would be, and we'd be above Reading. So, and I don't think
the gap would be closed, wouldn't it? That's the thing.
I think Derby probably would have gone down without the deduction, possibly, because that's been motivating them, and their squad isn't that great. You could argue that, but It doesn't matter now.
You could say they didn't really
playing
have
like a team with nothing to lose. Yeah,
they're playing with a bit of freedom because nobody expected anything of them, kind of thing. So they can kind of go into a game without that pressure of needing to win, kind of thing, because everyone's wrote them off. We don't know, do we? We'll have to see. But so in terms of the Birmingham game, then was there any bright sparks that we could talk other than the fact that we kept a clean sheet and didn't lose? Obviously, we took the point. Was there any players that stood out for either of you? Was there a specific man of the match?
I thought Slater had a cracking game in midfield, personally.
Yeah. Slater
I can't believe he was 50 grand still.
I was literally about to say that. Slater, every time I watch him play at the minute, you just think it's absolute madness that we got him for the price that we did. He's just so good, so I actually think he looks twice as good as he did for his last season as well. Like he's improved.
It looks like he has improved.
Yeah, it's something about his game, like in terms of like contributing towards the attack now as well, and his passing. He seems to have sort of become a bit more composed, and he looks like he can dictate the tempo of the game kind of player now, whereas last season we kind of played him in the Smallwood role, didn't we, when he was injured? And then Alfie Jones got injured, and that's when Slater stepped up to the mark. But we're letting him kind of have that box-to-box role at the minute, and I think it's really working for him. Keane Lewis-Potter, probably arguably our only attacking threat throughout the entire game. Could have had he had a couple of good chances. And our best defender at the time as well. He cleared one off the line, didn't he? So just before half-time. He was contributing to all ends of the game. But like we say, it's a point against Birmingham away from them. You're always going to take it, aren't you? We didn't really have any scares. We didn't really look like, other than a couple of chances, it was one of them games that had 0-0 written all over it. And like you say, we'll take that point. But we'll move on to the Coventry game because there's going to be a lot more to talk about on that. And it'll be a lot more joyous to talk about, I think. So I'll come to you first, and Will. Amazing start. The unlikely source of Richie Smallwood popping up with a goal in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Putting fucking football pie all over his face.
Yeah, poor
shocking keeping. Great, but it was a good passage of play regardless. It was a good bit of build-up, and it was a great run from Smallwood out of nowhere, really. Of all the players you expect to make a run into the box,
shouldn't be that high, really.
Smallwood.
It's worrying. Should be defending.
It's not worrying, it's ace.
Well, but if he'd missed that and the keeper, set a counter-attack, it's going to take it's going to take 20 minutes for someone to get back that high up. But yeah, I was going to say it was a good finish. It wasn't really, but
and I'm glad he scored.
Well, yeah, exactly, because I think recently he's deserved it, and it was a really crucial goal. He didn't seem to know how to celebrate afterwards. He just sort of started jogging off. I don't really know what that was about, but he has had a few shots recently, usually not in those chances, but I think another goal has been coming throughout the season, perhaps, because it's been a while since he scored since the first day, but I think he's deserved that.
Yeah, I think Smallwood, I'm actually really happy for Smallwood because, I'm not going to pretend I've always been Smallwood's biggest fan because I did myself question his capabilities of playing at this level effectively, especially at the beginning of the season. We went on the bad run. He looked a little bit isolated at times and like maybe he went up to the pace of the game, but I'm glad to be proven wrong, as I am most of the time, to be fair. If I tweet out that a player's having a bad game, they're 100% going to score in the next 5 minutes. So, but Smallwood this season, I just think has been one of those that, he still even gets a little bit of hate now, which is confusing because he's definitely one of our player of the season contenders. And I think it's just because of the job he does in the team. Like, it's one of those roles that isn't really appreciated by, a lot of fans, is it?
People don't realise how much he adds until you take him out the team. And it's always that case. Like whenever we've taken out the team, we've looked so much more vulnerable. And it's like, I wish Smallwood were playing. It's like, you waited him last week.
Yeah. It's weird. I think he's obviously not going to. He's not like Huddleston. He's not going to play those flamboyant, long diagonal passes.
It's the Ashby.
He does it sometimes, though.
Yeah, he's capable of it. Just not as often as the consistency level of his passing isn't going to be the same as Huddleston, for example. But his role is literally just to break up the play and then give it to the likes of Honeyman, Smallwood, Honeyman, Dockett, Slater, whoever's got the side of him, Lewis Potter to try and get that breakaway going. He just does the ugly job, wins us the ball back and gives it to somebody else. And I think that kind of role is invaluable to a team at the minute. And having somebody like Slater alongside him that can, sort of help complement him and give him a bit more protection as well, sort of helps. And I think the 3 at the back system suits him more because he's less isolated in front of the back 4. He seems to revel in being able to sort of drop back right in front of the back 3 and sort of protect them as that shield. I'm glad that he scored, really, because like Will said, he deserved it. We'll come on to the impervious Ryan Longman then, because Nathaniel, obviously, as his name suggests, he scored a bit of a belter.
Yeah, to continue the Partridge references, it's a foot like a fucking traction engine.
Well, exactly, yes.
Why are goals so much more better when they're going off the crossbar?
Well, I think it's that, that bounce, isn't it? And when it goes up and hits the net again, it's great, isn't it?
Makes it look like more of a peach of an effort, doesn't it?
It looks like it's somehow a stronger shot, even if it just every goal needs to go in off the woodwork.
But obviously, we've been a little bit critical of Longman since he signed permanently. He's had a few games where he's a bit anonymous.
Stinkers.
Not definitely not as effective as
Nathaniel. I never thought
he's not been anywhere near his usual very, very high standards. And I think, you said it just a few minutes before he scored. He looked a bit more lively. So he really needed that goal. I'm glad he got it. And, he scored another cracking goal. Even if we'd only signed him in January and he'd had those bad games, but, he's got his goal now and hopefully can kick on from there. Just take it like he is a new signing, and now he'll, hopefully we'll see the best of him again.
Yeah. I could argue, I'd argue and say that he's actually better as the wing back than we've seen more from him as a wing back than what we have as a winger this season. So maybe he's kind of on a position that he's actually more comfortable in.
Well, yeah, he did play a few games as a winger early on in the first few games that Shota was playing 4-3-3, and he didn't do anything at all. So I think wing back is probably decent. Yeah, I don't know how good he is defensively really, but getting forward somehow that helps him more being in that position.
I think wing back affords you to be slightly more offensive anyway, doesn't it? To back 3.
Yeah, with the way we deploy wing backs, they're kind of there just to sort of cut the passing lanes more than make tackles. So they'll track back and we make it kind of a back 5, but the centre back nearest to them would tend to then push out to the defender, and the wing back would just be there to support and sort of force them out wide or get them into an area where they're cornered. So when we were doing well when we had Lewis Potter and Longman as the wing backs anyway, like that on paper shouldn't work because they're both very offensive wingers or / strikers, wherever you want to play them. But somehow it worked, and I think it's just the energy and abundance on the wing, being able to get up and down and support attack, but also be there to support the defenders, which they do really well. Like, we know he's not going to make that many tackles, and he's probably not going to mark them brilliantly. But like we've seen from him in the wing back position at the minute, he more than makes up for it in enthusiasm by just bombing up and down the line and then supporting Honeyman in the middle and then playing them nice little triangles up the pitch, which we've sort of missed, I think, in the last few weeks under Shota, where we've not really looked offensively a threat to anybody. But against Coventry, especially in that first half, we were brilliant. And I think Longman was a big part of that. Brandon Fleming as well on the other side was absolutely brilliant again. It was probably also put himself into a player of the season contention, even though he's only played since January.
Possibly.
He's just,
I wouldn't be surprised if he won it.
If you've got that level of consistency, then you're going to be at it.
Can you win player of the season if you've only played, half the season?
Yes.
I don't know, but he's got, is it 4 team of the week so far? And he's probably only been eligible for 7 or 8. So
he was in team of the month for both January and February.
He's been our player of the month 2 months running as well, hasn't he? Possibly.
So. So yes, you can be player of the season, right? If you decide in January.
I guess so. Yeah.
If you do a torn up procedure of say, if it was chosen by who's won player of the month the most, then he would be winning money. I don't think we've had any other player win 2, have we? Lewis Potter, maybe?
KLP might have done.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
It'll be difficult at the end of the season to say who's won player of the year, because last year it was so obvious it was Honeyman, But this time, there's been so many that even Honeyman and those spots have been great. But McLaughlin, there's Baxter, there's Fleming, there's Longman. Obviously, there's lots of players.
There's someone you didn't mention who did something later in the game.
Smallwood.
Later
Greaves.
in the game.
Yeah.
Who sealed it for me with that 1 second of football.
But I would have to go out and say that I think Sean McLaughlin has been consistently better than Greaves has since coming into the side.
But did he do the greatest goal line clearance in football history?
He did. He
The
did.
thing is, McLaughlin did do McLaughlin cleared the ball off the line as well. So it was teamwork.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about Greaves though is that I think he cleared the ball off the line 3 times. Because there was the first block, and then it hit Ingram, and then it hit Greaves twice, I think, on the line somehow. So at least 2 in that one.
On the floor.
At least 2 times in that one incident. Yeah, I thought that was in first time looking at it though.
Yeah, we'll talk. I was going to talk about the referee later on, but we might as well talk about it now because it obviously falls into that sort of category. I watching the game did think that was a goal. I thought he crossed the line, but as we say, he's got goal line technology. He's got the watch. It said no goal. So, and as we've seen from the video on Twitter this morning, it was very close to being a goal, but it wasn't just. So, good decision.
So many people just don't understand that we have goal line technology because it's not the referee's fault.
It's not
his mistake. The technology was either working or it wasn't. It's not his fault.
What I like about him most is the referee looked like he looked at his watch expecting it to say goal, and it didn't say it.
Yeah, so obviously you can't get that. We've seen that goal line technology is pretty much spot on 99% of the time.
It's not like VAR is black and white, isn't it?
Yeah, we've only got the one instance of was it Bournemouth in the Premier League?
No, it was in Aston Villa.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Where it
that was I feel like the reason why that didn't happen
because there's all 5 players in the way.
Well, yeah, but also I think the goalkeeper collides with the post, so the goal is shaking. So somehow I feel like the line might have been affected by that somehow. But this one, so many people don't understand the ball. As I did a diagram on Twitter, it overhangs. So it looks like it's in, but it's not.
Diagram.
Yeah, I have to. The quality of that diagram was spot on. To be fair,
Thank you.
That's irrefutable. You can't.
Simple, isn't it? Oh, so I've got it here actually. Is this it? Yes. I can show.
Not to find it, to be honest.
So difficult getting things on camera. There you go. Ball and the goal. So,
for the audio listeners,
that's
Nathaniel
proof.
just showed us his diagram version of the goal line technology incident, which can only be described as on par with Picasso.
Well, abstract like Picasso, yeah.
But we'll come on to some of the other refereeing decisions then, because Coventry fans obviously were not happy with him at all. I think we kind of added to that by sort of time wasting from the 10th minute onwards. But
you mean the dark arts?
Yeah, I've become a bit of a shit.
It was several times.
Wasn't Atletico Madrid badasses at it?
Well, several times we had a free kick on the halfway line, and Greaves would look like he's going to take it, and then he'd leave it to Ingram. At least try and be subtle, because otherwise the goalkeeper has to run half the pitch to kick the ball.
Personally, when he did it the first time,
should have been.
And the ref walked up to him, I thought, that's going to be an early booking already, but he didn't. He just told him off, didn't he? But he probably should have got booked for it, but he didn't. But we've become a bit of a shithouse team under Shotter. I've realised, because we did the time wasting against Sheffield United as well, didn't we?
I fucking love being a shithouse team.
Yeah, it boils piss.
It's evil, isn't it? I think
that's why it's because you hate it when someone doesn't do it.
Exactly, wins are sweeter when you know you sort of didn't deserve it as well. I think.
Well,
we deserved this.
We deserved it.
Yeah. But when you're time wasting and doing
if it's a smashing grab,
aren't sporting,
it's even worse. Good. Yeah, it's horrendous. But so we'll talk about some of the penalty decisions. I think. I think the one that happened, was it just after the goal line incident?
Just before.
Was it on Tavares? Doherty coming in with a bit of a clumsy challenge. I thought that was a Stonewall penalty, and I can't actually believe that the ref didn't give it.
I think the reason he didn't give it is because when he gets tackled, Tavares sort of jumps upwards and falls to the floor. And I think that's what does him in.
True, but also if he hadn't done that, he would collide with the player. Because sometimes you jump out of the way knowing you're going to get fouled, and it's still a foul. So
it was definitely a penalty.
Stonewall.
I think it's just the way he sort of jumped upwards made it look a bit like...
Should have just taken the collision.
He cons the ref out of it.
Yeah.
That's
a good way of putting it.
A bit too flamboyant in the way he went down.
Yeah. Well, it was a penalty, definitely.
Yeah. I sat here and I thought, oh, God's sake, here we go. But when he didn't give it, I started laughing because
he didn't give it, and we got the magnificence of Jacob Greaves.
That's a great moment, isn't it? That and that Birmingham goal.
The great moments.
That Birmingham goal where the ball was clearly out. Just great times.
I think there was another one, wasn't there, as well? Was the one on Gyökeres? I think where
that was not a penalty.
No, I don't think that was a penalty.
Soft. It would have been soft.
It's one of those where if you give them, you're giving about 10 penalties a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 40 free kicks a game, and constant free kickage.
Yeah, I think in terms of the game, the ref probably did favour us, but it's nice because we haven't had that often this season. Like we said, the return game, the first game against Birmingham, the MKM, we had
it happens all the time though.
In a way, we had a good refereeing performance in our perspective.
If you lose, it's the ref's fault, and if you win, you don't talk about it. It's every single game, I was reading something about
at championship level, refs are pretty fucking shit.
I was going to say
exactly, but then it's not the ref's fault if they're all rubbish. If there was just one rubbish one, but the worst thing I really hate is that every single fan base thinks that there's a conspiracy just against their team and the refs. So annoying. Literally every club. Maybe there is. Maybe the referees are actually great at their job, but they're intentionally bad just to annoy everyone.
What it is the conspiracy is that referees hate football in general.
Honestly, that's a good point because they only ever get abuse, don't they? So why should they
into account
be good?
Like the refereeing performances that we've seen at championship level this season? Then would you prefer, say, we had the choice, the fans had the power to vote on whether or not they had VAR added into?
No. I'll take shit refs over VAR.
Yeah, I mean, I think the alternative, maybe not in the championship, but I don't think we'd get it as far down as the championship. But in the Premier League, what they need to do is just hire better referees. It's simple. Because VAR.
It's VAR. It's like I think second tier podcast tweeted about it, and it's like it was like two people talking near a water dispenser in an office or something, and there was like, the standard of refereeing in the championship's terrible. And it goes, I know. Should we see would you like to see VAR next season? No, not a chance. So it's like, you can't. We can sit here and complain about referees all the time.
I don't trust those referees using VAR.
It would be the same referees, wouldn't it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair play.
I think you'll probably come around eventually.
Whenever there's a VAR decision in the Prem, the shit show around it.
Yeah, I think
it takes forever as well.
Yeah.
The principle behind it's correct. It's just the way that they execute it's poor. If you have to look, to me, if a VAR decision requires them to replay it about 10 times, then it's obviously not clear and obvious.
Isn't it?
It's not clear and obvious then, is it?
Yeah. So to me, VAR decision should be literally like an instant, that's it kind of thing.
Because what you need to do is just get rid of the excruciatingly obvious ones that, even if you win, you're sort of you shouldn't have. Because you just want a bit of integrity, and if excruciatingly obvious ones, I can't think of any example. Well, actually, the Barnsley Fulham game, last week, the Fulham player was fouled, not given, and then Barnsley get into the box.
That was a shocking decision.
The Barnsley player dives and gets the penalty. So there's two incorrect decisions there.
Dive. He slips.
Yeah, well,
he slips.
Even worse.
It's not even a dive. It's
Yeah, it was
such an awful decision.
Because of the amount of money, especially, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they just have it for the playoffs or something, or the playoff final, because of how much money is riding on that. You could expect maybe it'll come around eventually, but hopefully by the time it does, they'll have fixed some of it.
Right, back onto the Coventry game then, because we've kind of veered into VAR Premier League territory.
We won.
It's not VAR anyway.
Yeah, screw VAR. But I want to talk about. Well, I think I put a tweet on the podcast account saying good luck choosing a man of the match from that one. So I think we should probably talk about some standout performances from some players. I think the one that I'm going to throw into the mix is Tom Eaves. I think another player that, like Smallwood, has probably had his fair share of flack, but then turned into a bit of a cult hero at the minute, even though he don't like. Sky Sports said about 5 times in the space of 30 minutes, from what I saw. He doesn't get the goals, but the fans love him. That's literally was their tagline every time.
That is true.
It was quite funny, actually.
That's not a compliment. Thanks, Sky.
Well, yeah,
that's
the thing, though.
Compliment.
Because he had a few opportunities and he doesn't take them. So yes, what we really need is someone with hold-up play, which is as good as Eaves, which I'm sure there is someone out there like that, but that can also score goals. Because then we'll love him and he can score rather than just loving him because of the hold-up play. That's what we need.
This anti-Eaves agenda you have, Nathaniel, is getting out of hand.
His hold-up play is really good, but his decision-making, because he's quick and he'd score more goals and get more assists if his decision-making in the box with his half chances was even half competent. Because some of the decisions he makes, I think, are just
to score.
Not good.
Which was the pass across from KLP. Really, that was
not his fault.
Shit pass.
But after that, Longman's coming in. He could have squared it to him and had an easy shot on goal, but rather he just keeps dribbling and it gets blocked easily. Like, there are a lot of chances like that where I'm just like, if his decision making was better. Like, he shoots at the wrong times and he doesn't pass, when he should shoot and all that. It's annoying.
We don't.
I love Eaves. I love Eaves, right? But he's a footballer, and if he makes silly decisions like that, it gets annoying. But I know I'm going to get absolutely slated for not liking Tom Eaves as much as I should. But come on, like, he's a striker and he scored 3 goals this season. It's he's not that great. Like, come on. We can do better, surely. Surely we can do better.
But when Eaves isn't in the team, we don't look anywhere near as offensively a threat because...
for audio listeners, we'll just put on a Photoshop of Eaves on Jesus.
But Eaves as Jesus, you mean?
What he brings...
He is Jesus.
Oh, yeah, that's a different image, isn't it?
Because... he gives us an outlet. So what we've been struggling with lately and what we've kind of criticised our performances with lately is that we just keep hoofing the ball up top and then it just comes straight back to us.
You need Eaves. If we're going to do that, you need him
to do that. And he did that. He was up against 3 centre-backs at Coventry and their defensive midfielder who was man-marking him. He bullied all of them apart. 4 of them he had in their back pocket. They had an absolute nightmare of trying to mark Eaves. He won pretty much every header that went towards him. He held it up brilliantly, passed it on to the wingers and got us on the front foot. And I think that was one of the best performances that Eaves has played this season, definitely.
Possibly one of his best ever for City, that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of gutted that he didn't get his goal.
Stop it now, Nathaniel.
It was like Everton level performance to me, was that Eaves. It was very good. I thought, it was another one where his work off the ball as well probably isn't noticed. He does a lot of running for a big guy. He does a lot of pressing. He doesn't check. It was about when did he get subbed off? He didn't get subbed off till late, didn't he? It was about the 75th minute and he was still charging defenders down and you could tell he was knackered, but he had that effort and that endeavour to try and chase them down and put his cause towards the team. I I loved Eves' performance that game. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
He was great.
He didn't get a goal to top it off. But
that's what we're missing at home, isn't it? Because I think the last home game he started was possibly Swansea, and we've not scored since then. And he's come back into the team these last 2 games, and we've done better. So maybe if we are going to just lump it at home, well, if now that Eves is back from injury, should just start
he's
him.
Been injured as well. I think that's the reason why he hasn't really been playing as much. And now he's back. He has to start on Saturday.
Yeah.
Another one then. Keane Lewis-Potter, another obvious choice, but a very, very dangerous game. I think he had sort of Darbo on strings, wasn't it? Throughout most of the game, he was cutting inside, making a bit of a nuisance of himself. Do we think Keane Lewis-Potter should probably be on more goals than what he's on? Because I do personally.
The XG say so.
Do we think that's the only thing?
His expected goal is 10, and he's got 8. So
that's not too bad.
It's not but also he's scored 2 fewer goals than he's expected to. And if you're a good finisher, you score more. But that's also
what's Mitrovic's XG?
90.
No, it's like I think it's 28 or something, and he's on 35. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, but he scores like headers and stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but he probably should do.
What headers contribute,
but also, yeah, it's. I don't really understand XG really.
I don't know why it's just such a fucking weird stat. I still don't properly understand it at this point.
I understand the concept of that. Yeah, how that if you shoot from 50 yards out, you're less likely to score than 1 yard. But I don't know whether it takes into account.
I think it does.
Whether there's like players in the way or whether it's a volley.
It's all about science of it. Yeah, it's all about. It takes everything into account, doesn't it? Like whereabouts from the goal you are, what foot you've used. Obviously, if it's your strong foot or whatnot.
I didn't know that.
If there was any players in between, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know how you can consistently apply that to every single chance, but
it's because they all wear these things they have the positioning thing, so they know where players are shooting from. I think that's it.
All I know about XG at the minute is that I got a surprise promotion on Football Manager with Blackpool in the first season, and I'm in the Premier League, and my XG every game is about 0.10. So yeah.
That's
good. Smash and grabbing that bastard.
Yeah.
I'm getting battered every game about 6-0. It's not fun. But
he almost scored a great goal, didn't he?
He did. It was a good save from the keeper. It was a good shot. He does that quite well where he cuts in and he's from about 20 yards or so. He's good at them efforts. I think he's probably
sometimes they go 20 yards over, but
Nathaniel, if he had scored that, you wouldn't have got your name.
Yes, so I'm thankful.
The ball into the back of the net.
I'm thankful. Yes.
Is there any other names that you want to throw into the mix? I mean, you could probably say the entire team.
I did mention the entire team pretty much.
The entire squad. To be fair, you can't say anyone had a bad game. But obviously, I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to go with like a broken record. Jacob Greaves.
See, but I don't think Greaves was any better than the other 2 defenders. Other than obviously,
it's more of a symbolic man of the match for the best thing we've ever seen, isn't it?
Because I thought Alfie Jones was very
line clearance again.
McLaughlin's just been the epitome of consistency since he's come in, and Alfie Jones I think is getting better.
McLaughlin didn't clear it off the line on the ground backwards behind him.
Alfie Jones looks very good at the minute.
He does.
I mean,
keeping Dishon out,
no mean feat. I mean, it's just. I think it's how comfortable he is on the ball, because we all know that he's probably better in midfield as that anchor in midfield role that's kind of small Wood players. But he's more than capable of doing the centre-back role. And I think in a back 3, he probably brings an even better side of him out, because he's got a bit more freedom to progress into that midfield area like Bernard does. Gives him that licence, doesn't it? And with him being so comfortable on the ball and us trying to play out from the back quite often, having them 3 defenders that are so composed and good on the ball gives us the platform to do that. And I think we're quite lucky in the fact that we're blessed with so many defenders that are great on the ball, because I think they're quite hard to come by, and we've got 4 of them. So if you're playing a back 3, it's very handy to have all playing defenders essentially.
You can tell our new Dutch assistant coach is starting to take effect, I think, with the passing and the technique of the play that we have.
Yeah, we just but like I said, we need to start seeing this level of performance now regularly, because I know there was probably a bit of hesitancy to try and play an attacking sense of football because there's still the possibility of relegation. But when they've come in and promised you, like the I'd rather lose 4-3 than draw 0-0 concept, and then you watch us draw 0-0 kind of thing, it's like, I mean, the jury's obviously
right now. Anyone who would rather have no points over 1 point is a psychopath.
True.
Well, yeah.
Well, maybe the last few games we'd rather lose 4-3.
Yeah, I mean, I preferred watching us under Slutsky than watching us under Adkins.
That was just batshit under Slutsky.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but every game was crazy, and there were so many goals, and it was just so entertaining to watch.
We'd have gone down if he'd stayed.
Possibly, but it would have been fun. It would have been a fun way to go.
Getting renegated's not fun.
It wouldn't have been the McCann relegation.
No, it would have been the McCann relegation. It would have been a
where we just get
relegated by scoring 90 goals.
Battered.
Yeah, we scored one last-minute winner against Borough, and that's it.
But I mean,
that Middlesbrough game. Yeah.
We've seen flashes of obviously what Shota is going to try and make the team do. I think Coventry, because I think what we were missing with McCann was sort of his game management and his tactical depth. I think was probably McCann's biggest Achilles heel. He kind of set the players out with one system, and that's how we were going to play for the rest of the game, whether it worked or not. But with Shota, like we say, the first half, we sort of went out all guns blazing, could have probably been 3 or 4 up by half time. And then the second half, we kind of just protected it, defended really resolutely and hit them on the counter. So we kind of saw 2 different sides to City, but 2 sides done very well. And it's like he said in his post-match interview, he was really happy with the attacking display we did in the first half and then the defensive that we did in the second. And I think you've got to be able to, you've got to have that depth in your team to be able to do both. So, we do forget that we've got quite a young and experienced team still this season. And if we can get this kind of that level of performance next season with some new players and some backing, then why can't we have a successful season next season? Yeah, and a striker that can score goals. I mean, from what we've seen, if we're going to... You go on, Will.
Adjun's already said he's going to spend big on a striker, so... Erling Haaland to Hull City on its way.
I mean...
That'd be a bit annoying, really.
Saibnesh came on, didn't he, and didn't really have enough time
to touch the ball?
Make any impact. I don't think he did.
But at that point, we were playing a style where we weren't playing attacking football at that point.
Yeah, he came on for Eves, didn't he? And I don't think Saibnesh is the kind
It was more fresh legs, I think, than anything.
Yeah. Interesting that he brought Saibnesh on up front instead of Force, maybe, who probably was seen as more of a striker. And I mean, we still don't know really what Saibnesh's position is.
I get the feeling Saibnesh maybe has a bit more work rate than Force. That's maybe the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Mm-hmm. And then Honeyman's back to his best, I think.
Great assist.
I think Honeyman's one of them players, isn't he, where if he doesn't play well, then we don't win. Everything that we do sort of create in terms of creativity comes through him. And he was, I mean, I've kind of criticised Shota's version of the 3 at the back where Honeyman's kind of more out wide and gets isolated a bit too much, and we don't sort of see his influence in the game enough. But against Coventry, it kind of seemed like he's starting to learn that role a bit better. And I think he kind of dropped a bit. He dropped inside a bit more, didn't he, rather than staying out wide. He let Longman go ahead and he would drop into sort of the space on the edge of the box where he's best. Like we saw with the Smallwood goal, that little reverse pass in between 2 defenders, which put him straight through on goal. But like Honeyman playing at that level, we're always going to create chances. So it's just about the players putting them away, and his energy, like the Sky commentators were saying about how he was still sprinting about the pitch in the 89th minute, and just like, how is he not burned out? But his energy levels are just crazy, aren't they? He's such a good player.
Him and Doherty always were, for 90 minutes straight, just never stopped.
No. And that kind of player is so important to a team, especially like us, where we're going to be under the cosh for most of the game, more often than not, anyway. And having a player like that that's going to run himself into the ground for 90 minutes is paramount to any sort of success you do, really, I think. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Matt Ingram. So we've had quite a few clean sheets lately. That's 2 clean sheets on a row away from home, which is very good. I think in terms of our goalkeeping situation at the minute, we're in a very good place, aren't we? But do you bring Baxter back into the squad back into the starting 11, should I say, as soon as he's fit? Or do you reward Ingram and let him stay in the side?
Reward Ingram.
Reward Ingram, exactly. Yeah.
Also, on a slighter side, we can't sign Baxter if anyone keeps bringing it up, because Chelsea can't sign or let go of any players for money.
But there might be
but they'll be allowed to. That's one of those rules where they say, oh, this is what's gonna happen, and then they find a loophole. Like they're not gonna let Chelsea not sign players or sell players.
No, I bet you they are.
Mate, I don't know. I mean, possibly. Well, maybe Baxter will, pay his own release clause and come to City. Hopefully,
I reckon we'll be able to get some form of court system in place where if players want to leave, they can probably have some sort of clause where they're allowed to just leave for free or something. They can't. Possibly. Like Nathaniel says, I can't see them making players stay, kind of thing. If
make
players' careers at the end of the day.
But what they'd have to do is they'd have to terminate contracts. They can't go for a fee. Legally.
Oh, that's better for us.
I mean,
we get back to
there could be ways around it. I don't know why they do it like this, because they could just, as long as money doesn't leak to
owners are fucking.
What's the issue?
They do it like this because the owner's a fucking dickhead who's mates with THAB.
Haven't they been told they can sell Chelsea though?
Yeah, as long as he
seem
don't
to be
get
going back and forth. Right. Okay.
Yeah, some Saudi consortium must bid 2.5
Anyway,
billion.
but yeah, we'd keep Ingram in the team. I think he deserves it. But Baxter's probably going to come back from injury during the international break, so maybe they'll have some proper time to kind of think about that. But Ingram's not put a foot wrong or a hand wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
But he'd not put a foot wrong when he dropped for Baxter last time.
Well, yeah, and we thought that was the wrong decision at the time as well.
You see, but they bring something completely different. I think both of them. Like,
doesn't
Baxter's
really matter.
Commanding in the area and that, but
either way, they're both very good. I'm happy with either option.
Yeah, like I say, like similar to the centre back situation, we're kind of blessed with. I think it's very rare that you have 2 goalkeepers that are fairly capable of being a fairly adept number one, because you kind of have like your main keeper, don't you? And then the understudy is more of a he's okay,
usually a veteran sort of,
or a youngster kind of thing. But we've got 2 that could easily be number one, and you couldn't really argue a reason to not put them in, kind of thing. So. It's a good situation to be in, of course, and I definitely would like us to see Baxter sign permanently next in the summer for next season. I think goalkeepers are very obviously one of the most important positions on the pitch, and if we can have that kind of depth in that position next season, because I don't think there'll be many times that we lose both keepers like we did this season, and stick Cartwright in, who didn't do bad, to be fair, when he played as well.
No,
he's all right.
I thought
looked okay when he came in. He was chucked in at the deep end. He did all right. But in terms of, because we all say at the minute that this squad kind of just isn't up to scratch or to standard. But I really disagree.
I never said that.
I said that recently.
If people say it's not Shotter's fault he's inherited a poor team, I don't think he's inherited a poor team at all. I think there's
when we lose, it's a poor team. But
yeah, as expected. But I mean, you look at the attacking potential that we have in this team in the likes of Longman, Lewis Potter. I think Tom Eaves probably has more to give. We just don't play to a system that supports him properly. I think he needs to be in a 2 up front. Syed Manesh is, he's quite an exciting player that we've not managed to see yet, but we will do.
Number and quantity,
Yeah, Honeyman's brilliant. Doherty's got more in his locker. I don't think we've seen the best version of Doherty this season. Personally, I think Slater might have just lodged him from his starting position on a regular at the minute. Smallwood gives us that experience that we need and has found a level of consistency at the minute that's brilliant. And then we've got these young, exciting centre backs that are comfortable. I think this team's got so many more gears to go up, and it's just about unlocking it, isn't it? And like you say, with a bit of backing in summer, we'll probably have a decent season next season, but we'll just have to see, don't we?
Have to start first.
Do you think then that we're going to lose? Because I know that they've just come out, Hull Live's just posted that Smallwood said that he's not actually been contacted by the club as of yet for a contract extension. But from when Baz was on, he seemed pretty certain that the players who have done well this season and last season will be offered another year at least.
I think he'll be offered a year.
Yeah. Tom Eaves, what do you think about Eaves? Because I think he'll leave, personally.
Don't know.
Might be better for him to leave, but...
I think he'll be offered another year. Because I think I remember what Baz said was that the premise is going to be, they'll say, right, we can trigger you an extra year if you want, or you can go and find, a 2 or 3 year contract somewhere else.
McGuinness at Wigan, he wanted the longer contract, didn't he? I think Eaves probably deserves a longer contract somewhere where he's destined, bound to play. But as long as we sign someone in his mould that is a target man, just so you've got that option there. Because the rest of our strikers, if we'll keep Syed Manesh and Smith and Lewis Potter and that sort of thing, they're young, quick, short players, aren't they? So you need that variety.
Right, so we'll look ahead to Luton then, because we've got Luton this weekend, and it's the West Stand Upper is open, so we could actually see a nearly full house. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest graphics about how many tickets have been sold. We're not anywhere near capacity. No. But it's another big crowd, I'd imagine. Another chance for the team to try and entice some of these fans back after that whole Barnsley debacle that we had. But they're on form at the minute, Luton. They're a dangerous team. What are we expecting?
Loss. No goal scored, probably.
We've got Eves hat-trick,
which is the important thing. We've got Eves, so we can actually lump it long and actually have some success. And so maybe that will work. But yeah, Luton are there for a reason. They're in good form. But I guess because we've got Eves and that's what we've been missing at home that we've had in the last few games against Coventry. Maybe we can, pull off a mini upset, but I doubt it, really. It's a bit depressing.
I mean, to be fair, Luton are still on the very edges of the automatics. They're only 4 points behind the top two.
6
I think
points.
it is. Those is 6. Maybe not then.
And they've played 2 more games as well. But
Bournemouth have hit a bit of a rocky bit of form recently.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely.
They're up there for a reason, and I'll be surprised if they don't walk away with all 3 points. To be honest.
Yeah.
As good as City have been, it's funny because I've been so positive all season. I've been positive all podcast, and then we'll lose.
It's this home form. It's really strange, isn't it? But hopefully we go for it. I think we might still lose, but we just need to score a goal. I
think the home away thing is because when we're away, we invite teams to play at us, and we play them on the break. Whereas at home, you're usually the team that has to push forward yourself.
Well, maybe
I think we're better on the counter than we are.
We can do that. When we beat Swansea and they have all the ball, don't they? They're possession side, so maybe that's what we need. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a weird one, isn't it? Because I think the last time we had this kind of home and away difference was under Nigel Pearson, wasn't it? We were absolutely shocking at home.
We were immense away.
Unbeaten away, didn't we? It was.
I looked it up. I think 3 of the last 4 championship seasons, we've had a better away record than a home record. So that's a stat for you.
Do we think it's maybe... obviously, the atmosphere should really be better now with the ownership. But I would say, do you think maybe there's just still that bit of, I don't know, edgy atmosphere to it that kind of, seeps onto the players where there's still...
In a way...
Yeah, there's still plenty of fickle twats there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Because,
probably.
I the last home game I went to was a Swansea game, but that was an amazing atmosphere. So I haven't seen, this kind of...
I mean, it helped because you were sat behind Uzzle as well, which helped you.
Now sat below Uzzle, behind the goal.
Close enough.
Yeah, but the South Stand doesn't really have much atmosphere anyway, negative or positive. It's just there. It was an experience, certainly not one that I probably want to do again in the near future. I'd like to go back to the East Stand, but actually no, because we had the when we did the stands thing, we got involved in that. That was all right. Hearing Uzzle do his solo at one point was quite good, but I just think that maybe the players are still... But it's weird because the players do come out and say that the atmosphere has improved, but the results hasn't. So I don't know what it is.
I think the atmosphere has definitely improved. Infinitely. But it's just... the problem is still, it feels like a lot of fans there, if we don't score early on, they just get on the backs. It's like, no, that's not... They're fucking 19th in the championship.
But that was because we were rubbish, I thought.
We were poor against Barnsley.
Yeah, we were poor against Barnsley. But even when we're all right, if we haven't scored by half time, even fucking a lot of fans get on their backs. Even if we played well.
I mean, it's tough, innit? Because I think now that they've got sort of the added pressure of the fact that they know that they haven't scored in 4 home games, and I'm pretty sure Shota will tell them that obviously we're expecting another big crowd and maybe a bit of added pressure onto them. But it is strange that the kind of the away and the home form's polar opposite, because we're 5 unbeaten away, but we've lost 4 at home without scoring a goal, and it is crazy how bipolar the squad is at the minute. And if because you think you watch that Coventry game and you think, where was that fighting desire against Barnsley?
Playing some really nice stuff. They just learned immediately, like somehow overnight, from the Barnsley game or 2 weeks.
We don't create many chances, and we don't kind of
at
take
home.
as
Yeah,
much risk.
it's just a bit drab. I just hope they play with a bit more freedom, especially after the win. That really, it would take a huge mathematical implausibility for us to go down with not just Barnsley winning, is it 5 out of 9 games? Reading would have to win at least 4 of their games as well. Both of those things aren't going to happen.
Never happening.
If it's one or the other...
As we told Reading won.
Well, exactly. And even if it was the other way around, it would be Barnsley that went down, or Birmingham possibly even. So, I think they should be able to play with a bit more freedom now. But the thing is, they'll say that they need a few more results and that they're not safe yet, so they won't feel like they can play with freedom, because they will have to be professional and say, oh no, we have to get to 50 points, rather than just saying, yeah, we're probably fine, because you can't say that in a press conference.
Yeah. I mean, I said it to Joe on the last episode that I would use the remaining games now to just kind of just showcase what the team can do and what he's going to try and get us to play next season. Because if you're going to try and convince fans to come back next season in the numbers, you have to give them a reason to do that. And I mean, obviously, there's the fickle nature in it that, if they support City, they should be coming back anyway, obviously. But when there's so many, different circumstances that are contributing to people not going, like, they've got to have a reason to spend that money now, especially with the cost of living at the minute. So if we show them some sort of vibrant, exciting, attacking brand of football for the rest of the season, take every game kind of as a free hit, and just say, look, this is what we're going to do next season. So, come back and watch us because it's going to be fun. But, they're not going to come and want to watch Barnsley, the kind of performances that Barnsley do, because that's not worth their money, is it? When they could be spending that on heating their house. But I just don't think he's going to do it. I think we'll just kind of limp over the line this season, and then probably see a new reinvented City next season, which I don't guess isn't a bad thing.
We're in a transition period from the summers when we finally get rid of the Allams for good, like in terms of their actual any form of influence of any sort on the club.
Yeah.
Because I imagine from the summer, like season tickets, from the summer, they're probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they go down in price quite a bit.
Most of the players we have are Allam players. Yeah.
Would we take a point against Luton then?
Absolutely.
Ooh, I'd bite your hand off. Absolutely, yeah.
I maybe won't bite your hand off. I'd just say yes. I'll take a point.
If it was 0-0, then I wouldn't. No.
Yes, if it was 0-0,
we have to score a goal at home, please. Well, because that's the thing. Most people watch the home games, right? So even if we're playing really well away from home, you're not going to want to go and watch the home games if that's where people get their main kind of opinion on the team is how they play at home. So, please, can we just score a goal? Please. Anyone.
Did you take a 2-1 loss, Nathaniel, if it just meant we scored?
At 2-1, 3-2. I'll take a 3-2.
No.
No, okay, 0-0. Maybe 2 more 0-0s, then I think we're safe, and then we can lose 4-3 for the rest of the season. How about that? Or just one more win, perhaps.
We've got 2 home games in a row, haven't we? Obviously, we've got Luton, and then it's international break, and then we've got Huddersfield.
Give us more away games.
18 games unbeaten, but have now since lost 2 in quick succession, I think, and hopefully they've kind of fallen off the boil at the right time, and we can kind of capitalise on that. But the Huddersfield game was worrying me, but not so much anymore. But I'd take are we keeping the same team then? Don't change your winning team? Yeah.
Drop Eves. No, obviously yes. Keep the same team. Don't change your winning team.
Don't change your winning team. I mean, because we've done that a couple of times where we've played the same team.
Start on Kerr, and then the former player will score a goal. So start on Kerr and start on front.
I was about to question your sanity for a second there, Nathaniel, but then you came with some sound logic.
What, you thought I was being serious?
Former players always score. Snodgrass will smash a free kick in.
They do. Yeah, I mean, former players always score. Remember when Waghorn scored on Wednesday night? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely wealthy.
I remember that.
Do not jinx it, Nathaniel.
What?
He said don't jinx it.
Oh, right, yeah. Fair.
I think that's pretty much everything covered then.
Official score prediction?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
1-0 losing. bit predictable.
Because it'll wind Nathaniel up 0-0.
Oh no, I'll respect the point. No, but you can respect a point away from home. That's nice, but at home, no. It's always disappointing to draw at home, really, unless you're playing.
What if you did it with 4-4?
Yeah, 4-4. That would be very entertaining. Yeah. Only if we scored the equalising goal at the end, though. If we bottle it, nah.
We went 4-0 down.
I'd rather have 0-0.
Like the Swansea game.
Yeah.
That was mad, that game. I think I'll go for I think because with Eves coming back and us having that outlet, I think we'll do well. I'm predicting a 2-1 win.
Oh, that's nice.
I'll take it.
A loss or a win.
I think I'd take a 2-1 win. I'm not going to be too picky.
Does that satisfy? Yeah.
Only depends who scores, though. If it's Eve scoring, I'm not having that. That doesn't fit with my slander.
All agenda. 3 goals scored by Longman, 2 and an own goal.
I'll take that.
Jacob Reeves.
That's
he needs his goal. Give Jacob Reeves his goal.
You just put him up front. Why not?
He'll get it eventually, and when he does, I will go insane.
I feel so bad because he scored last year, didn't he? And then they took it off him.
McGinnis got it instead, the fucking bastard.
Stole it off him, didn't he? It's funny actually because my uncle's put a bet on Greaves scoring anytime, every single game. he doesn't do it.
You'll be surprised how common a bet that is in E2.
Oh yeah,
Greaves scoring. It just never happens. It just feels like it'll never happen for him, doesn't it? And it's weird because he's so good in the air. And he's actually been quite dangerous in the box. Maybe not so much this season.
I think he's been better on the ground when he's had chances. When he's made his stupidly long runs.
Yeah, and he almost scored against Birmingham.
Yeah, he got through on goal, didn't he?
I feel like that would be cheap though if he scored from open play. Nah, it's got to be a set piece. That's what defenders do.
So when Delaney ran the entire length of the pitch and smashed it in from 30 yards, that was cheap.
Yeah, that's how Greaves is going to score his first goal. I think it's going to be an absolute thunderbastard from 30 yards.
He's going to overhead kick it, goal line clearance, and it's going to go all the way in.
That'd be a better goal line clearance, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Right then, I don't think there's anything other to say. I mean, obviously we've got the newsletter. If nobody's subscribed to that, the latest issue's just gone out for that one. Obviously, it keeps you up to date with the current episodes, what we're doing on the next one, any related info with sponsors and things like the podcast share updates, things like that. It keeps you up to date. So subscribe to that if you haven't already. Visit our sponsor pages if you can. 6 Yards Out and Candy King. They're both in the link tree. The podcast shirts, as for the video viewers, have arrived. You will have seen on Twitter. Unfortunately, these two don't have theirs because I've got Nathaniel's at mine. I need to post it out, and Will's unfortunately failed quality check, so it has to get
post it. And
I was going to say it failed quality check. Story of my fucking life.
so poor Will is having to.
I prefer the shirt I'm wearing today anyway.
You prefer Dynamo Kiev shirt to the Home Back podcast shirt?
Slavia, you crap.
It's relevant.
But for anybody that hasn't received yours yet, they have amazing quality, to be fair, better than what I actually expected. The sponsor badges on the sleeve are actually sublimated into the shirt. They're not peely badges, so don't worry about losing them in the dryer, for example. Same with the sponsor. It's actually in the shirt material itself. It's brilliant. Big badges stitched on. Very airy, very nice. I like it. I've worn it for about 4 days now. It goes straight back in the wash and then I'll wear it again next day.
I was about to say, you fucking washed it each time.
No, I live in it, Will. I wear it all the time. But no, I think the vast majority of people should have received theirs by now. I know, obviously, Lee Walker.
I haven't.
Nice.
I haven't.
Yours is here.
And we're on the fucking pod.
But I will be posting Nathaniel's out to him, don't worry. So yeah, but anybody who ordered the next set, I think, have been delivered in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's basically, it works on a monthly basis. If you order it, it'll be delivered the month after. Is how it's working at the minute. So head over to the link tree and buy one if you haven't already, because £7.50 goes to Andy's Man Club, which I need to get in touch with S66 actually and find out the most recent figure, because we probably need to transfer some more money to Andy's Man Club in that respect. Find out our total raised, because obviously I think it's nearing 200 at the minute quid raised for obviously supporting men with mental health issues and support groups going on for them. So amazing shirt and amazing cause at the same thing. It's a win-win situation for everybody. I think that's pretty much everything covered. Anything that you guys want to add on?
Jacob Greaves for England.
Oh, well, the squad came out already, though, didn't it, today? That's a shame.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, quick mention on that, actually. How does Tyrone Mings keep getting into the England squad?
It's like Mount. He's got some dodgy photos of Southgate.
Yeah, Mount's all right. Tyrone Mings. I don't get Tyrone Mings.
No.
Yeah. Like, Tamori's better than Mings. Easy.
Yeah, that's the one. How was Tamori not there? And before anyone says it, Jared Bird's injured.
Oh, yeah. But we know why. We all know why Tamori's not on the team. It's pretty obvious.
Because you don't play in England.
Exactly.
To be fair, Jadon Sancho was playing for England when he was at Dortmund, and now he's not getting called up while he's at Man U.
Yeah.
He's actually been playing all right lately.
Yeah.
He started to get his goals and assists tally up,
which is a shame, because I want to see Man U lose every game.
True.
Yeah, true. To end the episode, then I've seen a few. The infamous question I wanted to ask you two because it's interesting. Are there more doors or wheels?
I can't. I
knew
can't.
this was coming.
I've had this argument too many times. It's for the better if I just don't get into it. I can't answer that. We'll be here for another half an hour.
One word answer.
Wheels.
It's not though, is it? It's no. I can't. End the episode, Ant. I can't.
What counts as a wheel? What counts as a door?
Exactly. That's the thing.
Wheels on drawers. I say cogs in clocks and stuff count as wheels.
Nathaniel wants to die.
There's all the toy cars, Lego cars, Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we all know.
Skateboards.
Please.
I'm trying to bait him into. Come on, why do you think there's more doors, Nathaniel?
Well, so I'll never admit this to anyone. So all the hundreds of people listening to this, mute this. But there probably are more wheels, but I can't say that. That'd be wrong to say that. I could never say that. So it's doors. Obviously, there's more doors.
But why?
No, they're cool. Stop this now.
Doors are cool.
I can see it's boiling Nathaniel's blood in the room. I've just wanted to probe a little bit further. You can see. Look at the pain in his face.
Yes.
Right, so we'll leave it on that one then. There's more wheels in the world than doors. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Visit the link tree for our sponsors, charity shirts. If you want to just donate to charity themselves, you can just visit their website and his Man Club, obviously the charity partner. Joe is missing off the current episodes because he is sorting out wedding stuff, so he'll be back in the next couple of weeks, I imagine.
Despicable.
And Joel, the forgotten man, will be back, I think, in the next couple of episodes too. I don't know, some geezer who claims to be on the podcast, but we'll probably have a full house at some point in the next couple of episodes, so that'll be nice. I think I'm trying to organise Bobby Hadgraff to come on, obviously, for the Hair Game 2 announcement with the club, to try and get some details on, obviously, what that means for, as Will's showcasing there with the Hair Game 2 mug. Obviously, what that means for female Hull City fans and attending games, and obviously their fight for to end sexism of football and whatnot. Obviously, an amazing movement. Bobby's the Hull City ambassador in that sense, so we're going to try and get her on if we can. I think other than that, that's probably the end of the episode. So thanks for everybody for listening. We are over 7,000 views at the minute, so thanks to everybody who has continued to listen to the podcast and listen to us rabble on about absolutely anything, including doors and wheels and meal deals, for example. But cheers, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.